All right, so we're going to walk you through our rafter assembly process here. So step one is to pick out two of the rafters. We cut those previously in a video. You saw us cutting the rafters. So they get assembled into our jig, which I think we also covered in an earlier video. Now, obviously, oh, look at that beauty. So the important part here is that we get it up into this pocket, which represents where our ridge beam sits, and that they sit in the jig. All right, next step is to select a collar tie. Now we selected these collar ties that are already cut on one end, basically what we need, or not, or worse.
You like it?
A little bit long over here.
Okay, go flush.
That's flush.
All right. So we put our jig on there, we mark it. We got to mark it. Jig off, cut it. Now, this template is not used only for the end profiles, but it also locates our screws or our bolts that tie the collar tie to the rafters. We just put one screw in each end to hold it in place. Now we move the entire assembly over to the template. Got some blocks there to mark it in place.
About
Line up the ends the way we want it.
quite at the right angle. But
Well, that end was part of the original angle. Stand in the middle.
Now we pre-drill our 3 locations for our bolts. So that drill bit's not quite long enough, so we use the
Wobbly one. The wobbly one.
All right, now we take our template off. Now we have our bolts, or our all thread prepared. Hammer behind you. So Matt, now that we have the longer socket, you can leave it stick out a bit more. Just don't tighten the backside up as much. You don't need to pull it out. Just don't tighten the backside up as much. All right, now we cut bigger holes in the bottom in the template so that you can reach underneath and get the nuts and washers started underneath. Yeah, assuming the threads didn't get gummed up with Okay, I think they might have fallen asleep. I don't see it. I don't see a lot of movement going on over here. All right, nuts are on the bottom. Oh, one to go. Whoop, left your socket. All right, so now we pop the ends out with the template for the jig. Get the top up. Pull it forward a little bit. There you go. Now what we're doing is we're putting this block in the top that's a little bit wider than our ridge beam. So this block is just slightly larger than our ridge beam we plan on using.
Yeah. We're shy on the other? Yeah. Slide the sheet towards me a little. And
Now we compress one side to even up the other side.
say one.
That's good.
Like it?
Yep.
Okay.
So that sets our spacing up here a little bit wider than our ridge beam so that when we put it in place.
And this also represents our ridge beam, so we're going to stay a half-inch below this.
Right, so that's also the length of the ridge beam.
Right behind you on the table.
3 inch. Now we put in this temporary piece here to hold the shape and allow us to pick it up and move it around and put it into place, and then when it's up in the ridge beam, we'll take that piece off and it should settle tight onto the ridge beam, then we can fasten it to the ridge beam. All right, we stand it up and finish up any bolts that we had difficulty starting from the opposite side. Which, surprisingly enough, is much easier when you're doing it this way, not laying on your back with your arms stretched out.
You walk on the template, walk on the 4x4s.
Whoop.
Put the camera stand right in the way.
Yep. Well, that can be moved. All right, and that makes number 6.
Only 3 more to go.
There's 9 total. And that is the entire process of assembling our rafter assembly going onto the old house porch.